A conversation with Professor Dr. Curio.
Unter Motion Capturing versteht man
Most people think of motion capturing as recording movement in general, specifically biological movement.
Und bei uns
To be even more specific, the main focus of our work is namely human movement.
unserer Arbeiten steht. Und bei diesen Motion Capturing Verfahren werden
With this motion capturing technique, we place markers on the surface of a person's body, which we track not only in a single moment, but rather over a period of time.
und nicht nur in einem Moment, sondern dynamisch, zeitlich hoch aufgelöst.
Hardware.
Wir haben jetzt hier mehrere Lösungen.
Everyone has their own solutions, but our solution is through a commercial motion tracking system, a motion capture system, that makes it possible to capture 3D movement with high precision through 20 cameras in a large tracking space.
Volumen, die Bewegung zu erfassen, dreidimensional. Und das Besondere
One key feature of this system is that it employs an active capturing method with very high precision, which however still requires using markers.
noch von Markern. Das Besondere an dem Volumen oder an diesem Tracking-Volumen ist, dass wir
With this tracking setup, we can capture several actors at the same time, as well as their interactions.
auch mehrere Akteure in Interaktion aufnehmen.
3D scanner.
Der 3D-Scanner dient dazu,
A 3D scanner can scan an entire body quickly and reliably by fitting a type of textured 3D mesh surface over the entire body.
Oberfläche des Gesamtkörpers. Dieser 3D-Scanner wird häufig dafür eingesetzt,
A standard application is to use 3D scans of human bodies in order to print miniaturized 3D figures.
Also wir verwerten diese Daten anders.
We use the data to create 3D models that can be animated, individualized models of people, ideally models of people we have recorded here in the motion tracking laboratory.
Modelle von Personen, die wir sogar hier im Motion Tracking Labor aufnehmen. Und diese 3D-Modelle
These personalized 3D models can now be animated using tracking data recorded by our motion capture system or via synthetically generated motion data.
deren Bewegung wir reproduzieren können in Form von einer Animation, also einer Synthese von Bewegung.
This creates realistic animations of individuals that can be used to train computer vision algorithms in order to reconstruct movements from data obtained from 3D sensors such as the famous Microsoft Kinect.
Aus 3D-Sensordaten rekonstruieren kann. Unser Ziel ist es, möglichst mit Sensoren zu arbeiten.
As a result, it will be possible to make use of mass-produced sensors currently employed in the automotive sector or in consumer applications to better recognize complex human gestures, interactions and social cues.
Möglichst auf so eine Hardware auch erkennen zu können.
Tracking objects.
Bewegungen lassen sich, sage ich jetzt einfach mal, prinzipiell auf viele Objekte.
Movements can be transferred to various
Steht
objects.
im Mittelpunkt möglichst
To
auf
obtain an individual but
individualisierte
natural motion, it is important to preserve characteristic features when copying movements over to other human or lifelike models.
Animationsmodelle wie zum Beispiel ein Avatar.
In the film industry, motion is often transferred to abstract animation models, like in Avatar. This has also been done with facial movements.
Die Bewegung auf abstraktere Modelle.
However, the abstract model's movements can appear too realistic to the viewer. A problem that occurs is that the closer to reality these 3D renderings of models become, the more sensitive the audience becomes, and therefore the more closely they watch.
Umso sensibler wird der Mensch und guckt genauer hin.
Animals.
Die Hersteller von solchen Systemen werben zum Beispiel mit Aufnahmen.
The manufacturers of such systems also analyze, for example, the recordings of horses and their different walking patterns.
Es werden sogar Heuschrecken, ganz kleine
Sometimes markers are placed on animals as small as locusts. But in terms of human models, we really are interested in using the recordings for reconstruction, for example, optimizing movement patterns in the sports sector.
Im Sportbereich.
Limits.
Eine Grenze ist natürlich das sogenannte Tracking-Volumen.
One definitive limit is the size of the so-called tracking volume, which means we can't cover just any area like an entire situation at a street crossing.
Hier gerade diese Grenze zu
Our
überwinden,
goal here is to overcome this restriction by developing processes for computer vision systems, which can function with less information and at the same time still achieve high recognition performance, particularly in such difficult situations.
herausfordernden Umgebungen und Use Cases eben bauen zu können. Weitere Grenzen sind natürlich klar, wir verarbeiten
Further restrictions, yes, we work with markers, but we've thought up a solution to record movement without these markers. One possibility is developing a system that uses the nature of the human brain as a model.
Systeme zu entwickeln, die das Vorbild der Natur haben, des menschlichen Gehirns. Wir alle verfolgen die Trends.
We all follow trends like Google's deep nets, where biological architecture is taken as the foundation to gain immense recognition capabilities, such as detecting human poses from images taken without markers.
Wie zum Beispiel Posen aus Bilddaten zu gewinnen, auch ohne Marker erkennen kann. Diese Posen brauchen aber
These poses need specific data and detection methods in order to be recognized, which can be quite expensive. The goal is to create a dataset that allows us to train these biologically motivated models, resulting in a high recognition performance even without the use of markers.
Anzutrainieren, dass wir eine hohe Erkennungsleistung auch ohne Marker erhalten können.
Research projects.
Wir arbeiten hier insbesondere an Automobil.
We are working here especially on automotive projects in the field of autonomous driving, where we're working to improve the way cars interpret the behavior of pedestrians.
Das heißt, die Bedeutung von Bewegung.
The meaning of movement is what we are really interested in. Ideally, we're trying to predict behavior in advance in order to allow for better driving maneuvers to be safer in normal city traffic where pedestrians usually are.
Städtischem Verkehr, wo Fußgänger auftreten, agieren zu können.
However, we don't want to just focus on human motion. We would also like to investigate how people can interact with a robot, for example. For that, we need a lot of information about their respective movement sequences. Research approach.
Das, was wir hier verfolgen, ist
By working with this truly complex system, we are actually trying to create a simple solution. This means we want to achieve the same level of recognition as the 3D motion capture system with standard user hardware and simple sensors like depth sensors, if not just camera systems.
Mit diesem 3D motion capture System vollbringen. Dabei hilft uns das Motion Capture System.
But the motion capture system does help us to create ground truth motion data, which is used to train other hardware with methods of artificial intelligence towards human recognition capabilities, and by doing so, to reach an unprecedented level of performance.
Eines Menschen anzutrainieren, damit neuartige Erkennungsleistungen umzusetzen.
Project financing.
Wir finanzieren uns größtenteils aus öffentlich geförderten Projekten.
We are funded for the most part by publicly supported projects such as the Federal Department for Education and Research. The project we're working on at the moment is being conducted together with automotive institutes, research institutes and medium-sized companies.
KMUs umgesetzt wird. Da geht es darum,
We are specifically concerned with standardization in the automotive industry, how sensors function together, how interchangeable they are, especially concerning functionality with motion detectors as well as both the sensor and interpretation repertoire of an autonomous system.
Eines automatisierten Fahrzeugs aufzunehmen. The
project here, this motion capture laboratory, MoCap 4.0, has been financed through an additional grant to further promote this movement reconstruction research. The goal of this project is to utilize the technology developed in the case of autonomous driving in a different domain. For example, how to optimize the interactions between humans and robots in manufacturing or in logistics.
Interaktion zwischen Menschen und Robotern in Fabrik- oder Logistikhallen zu optimieren.